work with the Scheels Sports Park developers on that big, exciting project, not only for our city, but for MacArthur Boulevard. So we're gonna go through a quick presentation. We have a couple of the special guests here who will also introduce themselves. One of the developers, Dirk McCormick, is here. And also the new GM of the sports park that was just announced this week, Brandon Doherty's here. So we'll hear from them as well, and then we'll have a couple minutes for questions. So we'll go ahead and get started. So many of you are probably familiar with the sports park and the sports park concept. It got into motion. It's been talked about for some time in Springfield as an exciting thing that we can bring, and then it really got legs over the last few years. And so there have been some studies about it, and many of the governmental entities, and I know some of you are in the room, have worked on this in public-private partnership. But these are some of the high-level statistics about the sports park. So it's a $65 million project. It'll bring $25 million in boost to the economy. It'll bring 250,000 new visitors to Springfield and 50,000 new overnight hotel stays, and that's a big thing for our community because we want people to stay the night, eat, buy things in our community, which will start to generate more tax revenue for the city. So last year, just about this time, was the groundbreaking on the sports park. So this is a photo from there. And since then, there's been a lot of construction out there. Sometimes we will hear from people like, I don't see anything happening over there. What's happening over there? Well, by the nature of sports parks, they're largely a horizontal development. They're fields. And so there's been a lot of work going on out there, getting the ground ready, getting drainage ready. So Salinger, which is a local company, they first had to strip off the topsoil. It's been farmed for, I think they say about 100 years. They had to strip off the top of the topsoil. They moved 120,000 cubic yards of dirt to build them up to a foot or a foot and a half. A big part of these sports parks is the proper drainage, because in a lot of our fields around town that aren't turf, water can sit. Even if it rains yesterday, you might not be able to play today. So drainage is a big deal in the sports parks. And so they've been working on that, building retention ponds. And so when it comes to that underground piping, they've installed about 2 miles of underground piping. It's a 70-acre project. So Petersburg Plumbing's been out there for quite some time, installing a lot of stuff underground. So that's why you might have been seeing stuff above ground. The 2,000 feet of sanitary sewer, 1,900 feet of water main, and they also had to extend the storm drainage through the sports park to the detention ponds, as well as to kind of the surrounding subdivisions. They're also running sanitary because there will be some buildings on the sports park. They're having to run all that for the buildings that will go vertical in the next year or so, which is the concession building, the dome, and the market building. So starting this month, O'Shea will start to begin the Springfield Clinic Dome Air Structure Foundation, and that will be about 1,600 cubic feet of concrete. When you think about this, you all seen Scheels, been to Scheels. The dome is going to be about double the size of Scheels. So if you can imagine the structure, it's going to be humongous. So they're going to start doing the foundation soon. Trim and Flat will start the construction of the parking lots. Mammoth, which is the field builder, they're going to start to come in and start building a couple of the fields still this fall, and B&B Electric will begin the electrical work. So next year the dome will be inflated, the planned work will begin and finish the fields on the west part of the complex, with a planned completion by probably around this time, weather permitting, around this time in 2025. This is a quick video about the dome air structure. So you can kind of see, we don't have one of those in Springfield. You might have seen one around the country, but this is a quick look at that.
It's going to be a specimen, to say the least. absolutely the largest sports dome in the country. It is a very exciting project for us. I mean, we love breaking our own records, right? We had the record last year. These guys have broken the record again. We try to do as much as we can totally in-house, and we've been doing it that way for 60 years. If you need a structure to cover something, we've domed it, okay? So across every industry. Anything you want can be played in a structure like this. You can play baseball, you can play football. There is no limitations to what you're doing at 715 feet long, or almost about 8 stories tall, because this is going to be the largest sports dome in the country. You can fit more than 2 football fields in this thing, and it's 250 feet wide. We're really excited to be building it. You'll see a lot of work on site. I call it the slope, right? You'll see the foundations being put in. You'll see the grading occur. And then I come in with all these prefabricated bundles. They're going to be pulled out over a couple weeks, and then all at once the dome is going to be popped up. So you'll drive out to work one day, and then you'll drive home to work, and you'll be like,
pretty impressive structure we'll be seeing out there in the next year. There are going to be obviously business opportunities out of the Scheels Sports Complex. We have Scheels, which is a great store, retail outlet already for our community. We've got Ingrained out there, Casa Real, Legacy Pointe Eatery, and a hotel, Springfield Suites. A new hotel broke ground in spring in April, and if you drive by, if you're going on the highway, you can kind of see that that's coming out of the ground. That will be at Marriott Fairfield and open in summer, mid 2025. And there are other parcels. You can't really see that from where you sit, but the sports park is kind of in that top left corner with Scheels sort of in the middle right. And there are other parcels that are under contract or in negotiations about locating in Legacy Pointe. You'll hear it from the developers, but from the developers' perspective, they're talking to these companies, but they don't make announcements. The companies who are coming make the announcement, and so, but there's a lot of activity and interest in that area around the sports park. Here's just a few pictures. If you don't want to drive by there today to see the hotel coming out of the ground, these are fairly recent pictures of it. So I'm going to invite Dirk McCormick, who is one of the developers, up to kind of talk about the partnerships we've had on the sports park. We could not have done it with all the public and private partnerships. And he's been doing a lot, and Steve Luker have been doing a ton of work on this, trying to put it together and put the vision together. So he's going to talk a little bit more about that and introduce Brandon.
So typically, municipalities own sports parks to create economic activity, spur development, and create a facility to be used by their residents. In this particular case, Steve Luker and I partnered with the city and other governmental entities to figure out how to bring a sports park to Springfield, and it is truly a community project. The city gave us an incentive package that allowed us to basically fund up to half of the project. Now, because our competition is municipally owned, sports parks typically do not make profits. 75% of them do not break even. And so it is an endeavor to figure out how to take a project that does not make money and build it with half of the money coming from private sources. So what we had to do was go out and get sponsors. The first 2 major sponsors we were able to land with Scheels and Springfield Clinic. We then partnered, got additional sponsors from Bank of Springfield and Mammoth, their vision partners. Mammoth, by the way, is our field builder. They're out of Kansas. They're here to do this. You'll see the Mammoth logo on all of the fields because they are that proud of this project. That's not something that we do anyplace else. We have foundation partners like Valco, Martin Engineering, Mr. Robinson, A Sign, Salinger and Grin, B&B Electric, Springfield Suites, Springfield Pepsi, Kermit Flat. I have some other sponsors that haven't announced yet, that's both Foundation and Visual Partners. Because we knew for this to be successful, because a lot of our financing, and I have some of my banking partners here today, because our financing on the public side is to a large degree generated by what we generate out here in the way of new hotel rooms and sales tax. You know, we looked and said, we need to make sure that this park is used every day, not just by tourists on the weekends, but by, you know, people who live and reside in the greater Springfield community. So we struck a deal with District 186 for use, which we were great, because one thing that when we're negotiating with the city, I will tell you, we were asked about a Spanish youth program, and I'll get more into that in a little bit later, but we knew, Steve and I knew that we didn't want a park that was only going to be used by families who were traveling here from Kansas, Missouri, and Georgia. We wanted a park used by as many kids in Springfield as could do it, whether they could actually afford to play typically in a park like this, right? So that's one of the reasons why we did District 186, and I'll talk about another program short. We also have negotiated deals with Springfield Park District and Springfield Area Soccer Association. The hitting center will be moving into the dome, and by the way, before I forget about the dome is 90 feet at the peak. Scheels is 83 feet at the peak. So you can actually fit 2 Scheels buildings in our dome, to give you an idea of just how big that thing's going to be. And I'm sure I left off at that point, maybe forget where I was going. So a couple of other things. One of the things that Steve and I are doing out there is we're creating a 501c3, because we have 2 functions from the Legacy Park Sports Foundation. We want to use it for 2 things. One, we want to raise money to make some additional improvements out at the park, primarily for accessibility issues. One of the areas that when we first walked into the park, we do it as the yard. You know, there's a stage area, there's a place where people just kind of gather between games and hang out with their friends and neighbors. One of the things that we want to do there is, instead of putting down normal turf, we want to put down rubberized turf that is wheelchair accessible. We want to make sure that people who have accessibility issues can use this park just as well as anybody else. You know, there's a few other things like that we want to do out there with the same accessibility issues. The other thing we want to do with the 501c3 is to create a fund that allows other, you know, disadvantaged youth to be able to participate in programs that are local programs that may not have been otherwise. You know, a scholarship program. Also want to be able to subsidize local 501c3s for their use, like Boys and Girls Club, Urban League, etc. Now, one of the other things that I'll point out is, and one of the reasons why I showed you who some of our sponsors are, we have the funds to build what we promised everybody we're going to build. And all those parks you saw, and at some point in time, anybody is interested in exactly what those are going to look like, I'll say this, that you go to our website, legacypointe.net. But there are some things that we'd like to build that today we don't have the funds for. You know, from north to south, it's a quarter-mile long. We have 1 concession stand. I'd like a second concession stand. I'd like some stadium seating for both the soccer field / football field and the baseball diamond. That might allow us to chase some tournaments that we would not be able to chase otherwise. I want to make sure, and whether it's coming through the 501c3 or through this sponsorship, make sure we have that rubberized turf for the yard area for that accessible field. So those are some of the things that are popping in my head right now. If I think of anything else, I'll step back up there in a little bit, but right now, I want to go ahead and introduce our new general manager, who works for the sports facilities companies out of Clearwater. He's been in Starkville, Mississippi for the past 4 years, helping them open up a sports park down there. Brandon Doherty's coming back home to Illinois.
I'm Brandon Doherty. I am the new GM, and there's a lot of good stuff coming, but I've been here about a week, and so I don't have a lot of stuff to provide. So I would like to start by saying that I'd love to be able to come back here in a couple months and provide some kind of like operational updates. Who are we talking to? What have we got going on? What's the scheduling look like? You know, our job. One of the reasons I I wanted to come here is because I saw how this complex would start to brought a low-income area really together with the community. It's about the community first and then bringing people in from the outside. If they don't have a great experience while they're here, they're never gonna come back. And when I visited here in July, I was just really taken back by the hospitality and the available resources that this community has. And so for me to create an inclusive area, I'm a park and rec guy at heart, and then on top of that, having the hotels, the business, and the buy-in from the community really makes this a special place, especially having some of these legacy partners and sponsors and things already in place, because usually you're trying to get those. We're gonna set ourselves apart. When I look at the map and I look at where we're at in 5 hours, I mean, we have millions and millions of people within a 5-hour drive to be able to come here from Des Moines to Indianapolis. I mean, I have a map of everything. And, it's really exciting. It's really exciting for me. I'm still trying to get myself acclimated to it, and I've been told, hey, just kind of go with the flow for a bit, but I am ready to rip and run and get after it. So in 2 weeks, I head actually to California to a national conference where we will be communicating with a number of major rights holders from all sports. And that's the thing about the dome and the fields is we can do things, to me, it's a canvas. And what we do with that canvas is up to us. But as long as we create safe environments, maximize utilization, and provide a good experience, we're gonna be outstanding. So I'm going to California to create that, relationships and start getting people. So I'm hoping by November, we'll start being able to kind of tentatively put a footprint out there of what we have coming for the next. So.
Thank you. So, yes, we just have a couple more slides and then we have time for questions and then we have a, hard out at 8:30. So, just a quick, video from some of the partners and why they got involved in the park. So we'll show that to you and then in third we'll invite you all to the partners. So get ready.
This project will change how Springfield sees Springfield. It'll change how other people see Springfield. We believe this will be the best youth sports destination in Illinois.
It's absolutely our duty as a company, with being one of the longest standing companies here, to be a leader in supporting an initiative like the Scheels Sports Park.
Being part of the Springfield community is very important to Horace Mann. We want to support and build a vibrant community here where people want to come and work and live.
Springfield Clinic truly was excited to partner with the Scheels Sports Park complex. We realized that we couldn't pass up the opportunity to help this get across the finish line.
It's going to provide a lot of opportunity for our youth here and developing future leaders within our community. This is going to be a nationally recognized complex, a state-of-the-art facility. Why would we not get involved in a project of this magnitude? Is really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for our community.
First and foremost, Scheels Sports Park aligns so much with our mission to support educators who take care of our youth. I mean, the youth are really the future of Springfield, so this is going to build a vibrant future. I think this Scheels Sports Park is going to be a new main attraction here. We're going to have opportunities that we hadn't had before in this community because of the Scheels Sports Park.
Our service area today at Springfield Clinic covers around roughly a 2-hour radius of Springfield. We are working and we are touching base with businesses in Peoria, Macomb, Effingham, Carlinville, O'Fallon, and they all are interested in what their business can be a part of related to this project. So this has really morphed into an opportunity for us to recruit, retain, promote new services, create partnerships with entities that aren't even in Springfield. And so we see a lot of this transitioning to a broader Central Illinois opportunity. I grew up playing sports. Soccer was truly my passion. And I was able to witness what these types of facilities bring to a community in a unique way.
It's going to bring job opportunities. It's going to bring new families, new people, new visitors to the community. And they are going to be staying in our hotels and eating in our restaurants and shopping in our retail shops. And it's going to give opportunity for our kids to have a place where they can grow and be part of a team and promote healthy healthy lifestyles and foster partnerships with each other.
It did not become a question of should and surround us and support us. It's why would we not?
So yes, I'm going to be coming back at some point in time, asking everyone to consider being a partner. You may hear from me, you may hear from another, one of the members of our team, but it is, we believe that this is going to be a great park. We think it can be a phenomenal park. We need a little more help to make that happen. One of the other things I would point out, as Sarah was going through the video and talking about how it's a horizontal project, Val hears the word vertical all the time. What I would suggest is if you're not sure what's happening out there, go to Scheels' second floor, look out the back window, you get a great view of exactly what's happening. But again, don't be surprised if you get a call from somebody from our team saying, would you like to consider being a sponsor out of the park? We do need a few more dollars to make it a spectacular park. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions? Yes, sir.
Are there any plans to improve the street access, road access to Scheels and the other commercial properties in that area?
There's going to be some interior roads that are going to be built. The exits off of MacArthur, those are not going to change. Those are what they are.
The dome itself, I mean, is that, once it's inflated, does it have to always be turned on to inflate, or is
It will stay inflated.
it stays inflated once it's up?
Yes.
Is that the preferred structure for a sports company? I mean, is it more efficient to have that dome than a traditional ceiling, or what's the?
Well, it allows to put the turf field in there. Otherwise, the cost to do something that would have been that large would have been cost prohibitive. Quite frankly, even building the field house to do we're going to have 6 basketball courts, which are convertible 12 volleyball courts in there. To build a field house for that would have been significantly more expensive than what the dome structure is.
I'm sure there's a lot of work you got to see this rise for a few high-profile community parks not even listed as safe to sue in pros or something.
I'm sorry.
There's a few partners I didn't see that list you have there. Are there a lot in the works?
There are other partnerships in the works, yes.
Any other questions?
What are your expectations generally beyond sports use of the facility? Trade shows or other exhibitions or that sort of thing, musical events or whatever?
Yep, absolutely. So one of the nice benefits of the inside of the dome and even the turf fields is that they're multi-purpose use. So whatever we want to use them for, we have that capability. We're not going to limit ourselves to anything. And so ideally, big events, things like that would be those vendor events, music concerts, even social gatherings and special just kind of community get-togethers. Absolutely, we're going to be looking into all those. We're working with the CDP too to try to do some co-coordination of some things. But everything's on the docket. There's nothing that we can see.
So when you do concerts, is this dome gonna be like the dome in Las Vegas? Just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
Also,
Okay, I have a couple questions if you don't mind. How do you do your marketing and how far out do you go in your marketing in the area and bringing people in? Obviously, there's competition in other places.
So marketing-wise, what we will do, sports facilities will develop a website and a marketing strategy. We have an entire department built to do those things. We have national relationships already with people and with Sarah's help in different organizations that we'll be reaching out to everybody. So we'll use news, radio, paper, internet, all that kind of stuff.
Brandon, talk to SFC has how many?
We have roughly 60 facilities currently contracted that would be roughly this size. Everything from water parks to Parks and Rec to major event areas. So it's not the first time that we've been doing this. They've got an entire division of folks who are specialized in reaching out to the public to communicate.
And then how big of an area would you be wanting to?
The world. The world.
The world.
So I want to bring, I have a lot of aspirations, I'm a go-getter. I want to bring small events for the community, but I also want to bring the large venue national events also. If I see what is here, there's no reason that through some hard work that we can't have large-scale national events that come in. We have airports, we have transportation, we have all those types of things. So we're not limiting just to the Illinois area. We're expanding coast to coast, and we have some connections with European things. In Starkville, we had the Babe Ruth regional qualifier for the World Series, where we had 7 international teams come to Starkville, Mississippi, population 20,000, very rural, to participate in a baseball tournament, which was fantastic. This has 10 times as many assets and resources, so I think that through some hard work, as we crawl, walk, run, we'll be able to get to that point.
And then, so you have a deal with 186, and that's fine, this is not negative stuff, it's just fine. So that means that a lot of the sports events at the convention center downtown will be moved out to.
So I think utilization of 186 is utilization of the fields for practices, games, some of those types of things. Of course, we will be with the downtown stuff coordinating back and forth because we don't want to hurt anybody. So it's about utilization and maximizing our capabilities.
And then this would be a question about partnership with state government and chamber and stuff like that. How do you keep people that come to the events out at Scheels to move them around town to where they can take advantage of the whole town instead of being just sequestered out there?
So we will have on the property advertisements for different things that go on. So as a big tournament comes in, we have a welcome package. In that welcome package generally is provided all the things that Springfield will provide, such as what events are going on that weekend, where to go eat, and we use the chamber and the CPP to coordinate those things, put them together, and then we advertise it to them as they come to town to encourage them to get out and do those things.
Any other questions?
You mentioned crawl, walk, and then run. We
Yes.
also see the date coming up here in sometime in 2025.
Yep.
What do we see as far as happening in 2025? Are we looking at the fall seasons to have maybe some fall sports starting to go on, starting with the school year, start with 186 out there? Does that mean January 2026 we're gonna start crawling and then hopefully get some tournaments through 2026? What does the calendar kind of look like?
So the calendar is being it's built in sand, right, because of the construction. But ideally, late summer is the anticipated kind of soft going. So right now, we have some contracts and negotiations and some discussions, but nothing's been inked per se. But we are working on trying to get some things moving in that August, September timeframe for next year. And again, depending on where we're at, what's available resource-wise for facilities, as long as we're not in the way of construction, we'll try to utilize the fields in the complex as much as possible. And as we get there, we will announce those types of things.
Any other questions?
If you want to keep track of the progress, Legacy Pointe with an E.net is the best source for that.
What's the date for the crawl, walk, run tournament?
It's a crawl, walk, run process.
So what part do you want, crawl, walk, or run?
I want to sit on the sideline and watch.
I'm not very good at crawling or walking, so I just wait, let's go. But I am really hopeful, based on construction, of course, is next late summer, early fall, to be able to start doing it. In Starkville, I'll use that as an example. You know, we were told, hey, we're gonna do 20 tournaments in the first year. We started in August, we had 20 tournaments in the first 4 months, and then we were gonna have 25 to 30 in the following year. We had nearly 40 weekends still. So, and that was with a single outdoor complex, fighting weather and all that. Now with the dome and indoor, there's a lot more opportunities to do things, especially in those off months where you can't utilize the outside. So the goal again is if it's the right fit for Springfield, and it fits our model of what we wanna do for the community. We wanna bring those people in and stuff. We don't want just anybody, because we wanna have quality events that's inclusive and safe and all those types of things. And not everybody who puts on events are, club board. So again, we wanna make sure that everything we're doing is right.
Any other questions?
I would love to hear from anybody who wants to reach out to me and talk about, hey, we got ideas, we got programs, we got this. I wanna hear those things, because the more I'm educated on that type of stuff, the better